Welcome, and now we're going to look at the MSP Managing Successful Programs from the practitioner aspect. So this is the practitioner course to take you and prepare you for the exam and to really use the methodology in earnest out there when you start to run your programs. So I'm going to look through the same as you would have done through the foundation. The foundation was giving you an overview about what these different areas, about the themes and the transformational flow areas are about. Now we're going to look at how we apply them through our program itself to make them work and help us deliver a successful program. So just to remind ourselves about the MSP manual, our good friendly manual here, about where the different bits are in this particular book, because we're going to go through this in more detail. Remember, the importance about this book from the exam point of view is that you can take this in with you. So make notes through the book as we go through the course, as you read through the course and look at the different segments, make notes in it. Partly because actually writing in the book will help you remember certain things. And secondly, it will help raise some of the more interesting points and salient points, not from an exam point of view, but the more major parts of the different sections we're going to talk about from here onwards. Okay, so do write things and highlight bits. If you do highlight anything in your manual, make a note in the margin why you highlighted it, otherwise you're bound to forget. If you're like me, you probably will. So just make a note why I've highlighted that in the manual, because this is what looks like a good point here. So we're going to go through that. I'll try and address some of the points through the manual, through the course. As remember, they will be in the top left-hand corner of the slide sets where applicable for that particular slide segment. So part one is the introduction. We're not going to go through that. We're going to revisit the principles, because that's where the detail is and how we address those principles in an MSP, in a program. So we're going to revisit those. And then we're going to go through the 9 governance themes again, but now in more detail, explaining a lot more about the roles, about risk and issue management, etc., about quality and assurance, about building blueprints, etc. So we're going to look at that in more detail. And then we'll revisit the transformational flow, look a bit more about the responsibilities as we go through the flow on producing the activities or the documents, the program information and certain documents. And that's in part 3. And in part 4 of the manual, the appendices, the program information and other areas within those appendices as we saw. So remember, do refer to them as you need them and get used to where things are. So that when you do sit the exam, of course, you're a bit more familiar with the handbook and its layout. Right? But also when you then go out and use this in earnest in your organizations and work inside a program, you know where to find the information to and help you guide you run it. Right? Remember, it is a guidance. It's a good guidance, it's best practice, so understand that and use it as we go through. So the course objectives are understanding why we have program management. Now look at how we underpin that program management with the themes that we need to address, those 9 areas within programs that we need to understand, and use the transformational flow to guide us through a life cycle on delivering a program. Building up the information, building up the detail as we go through in steps. Because this also helps us provide gating points, decision points as to whether this program is still, desirable, viable and achievable. The same words are still there. Do we still need it? Does it still fit within the organization's view of where we're going with this in the future? Is it still likely to deliver the vision we have along with the blueprint? So that's what we're out here to do throughout all these different sessions now under the practitioner course.